All right, everybody, welcome back to the Intel Esports Arena for Week 3, Day number 7. That's right, I'm doing a little jig over here because it's just about time to kick off the matches that we have this evening. We're going to be kicking off a little bit of Splyce Renegades action, and we do have a little bit of an interview with JKS talking about some of the Sydney stuff coming up with the Intel Extreme Masters. But before that, let's go and kick this bad boy off. And that is right, the Intel Esports Arena has never looked so good, and that's only because, well, we got some pretty cool lights around here and some pretty decent people to go along with it. We could just start from my right here. And Harold and Jason, how was your weekend, guys?
It was just lovely. I really like that dance. Is that, can you square dance, Trace?
And if I could, it wouldn't be on camera. I can promise you that. Harry, what did you do this weekend? Did you make any outrageous purchases or anything cool? Tell us a little bit about your weekend.
No, I just slept a whole lot, Trace. You know, just kind of catching up, getting mentally and physically ready for some fantastic CS.
What does it mean to get physically ready for Counter-Strike? Sit-ups, push-ups?
Quite the opposite, actually. You know,
just a lot of sitting down, laying down.
Just out of curiosity.
Well, that does it for the commentary duo. That is Harold and Jason. They will be here bringing you the 4 maps that we have tonight. That's right, we only have 4, don't have 6. I'm sorry to let you all down. But now I have to move on to our experts. The brains behind the operation, of course, behind me, that is. Let's go ahead and introduce our analytical team in Pimp and Vendetta. Guys, what about your weekend?
I had a lot of work to do, as always, so no really time off for me.
I had absolutely nothing to do. It was great.
It was lovely. Look at that smile. That's a genuinely ecstatic smile about not having to do anything at all. But we do have some matches, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's take a look at the schedule because it is just about time to get in there. You're going to note 4 teams on the docket, not 6, or excuse me, not, 6, that'd be right. Maths, correct. Quick maths, boys, quick maths. Renegades and Splyce kicking us off, and then Dignitas and Liquid on the other side of that. 4 maps in total. We're going to be going into Cash Train, Mirage Train. And with that, we can now take a look at the standings. Guys, walk me through these standings that we have this far in the season so far.
Well, I mean, one of the things that obviously Team Liquid have in common with another team in the league is Energy being undefeated so far in the season, which is rather impressive, sitting at the top there, followed by Luminosity. And Rogue, somewhat surprisingly to me, sitting that high up in the standings, although it is early days in the season, so that might change as we go along. But yeah, biggest surprise probably Cloud9 and SK Gaming, pretty far down on the standings so far. You wouldn't expect that to see from the 2 kind of NA titans who always seem to be fighting for that top spot every season of Pro League.
Yeah, definitely agree. And we can also see Renegades going up against Splyce in our first matchup, currently equal points, you know, so we can see which one of them is going to get off to a good start in this season.
An excellent segue there, Pimp, because that is exactly where we're going into. Renegades and Splyce will be our first matchup of the night, of course, over 2 maps. And with that, I suppose we should just kind of kick this one off. Where are we seeing where these 2 teams lie this far in the season so far?
I mean, Renegades have looked pretty promising ever since they added JKM, or Jakem, yeah. I mean, we were a little bit worried about them losing Nefly for good reasons. Nefly definitely one of the best players and one of the hottest players in the world right now. So coming in and replacing him, a guy like Jakem who has been good before, but we haven't seen anything from him in a while, was a little bit worrying. But it seems like he's fitting into this team and they've been playing better than I think a lot of us would expect. So a lot of positive signs coming out of Renegades. We still need to see them have the breakthrough event, you know, like they had against the VP where they won the Starlight event now roughly half a year ago, I think. So we still need to see a little bit more from them, but I'd say it's relatively positive, everything we've seen thus far.
Yeah, outside of kind of the initial expected growing pains from them, there has been less of that than we expected. So positive signs really for Renegades. As for Splyce, had a bit of a rougher start to the season, obviously sitting with 2 more losses in their column. I don't think it's going to necessarily get any easier. I think they had a pretty okay start in terms of schedule going into this to start things off, and now they're going to run into the upper echelon of NA Pro League, and that's where we're going to see the discrepancy and why we have put them towards the lower end of the standings in our predictions.
Well, a team that has found seemingly a little bit of a rhythm would be the Renegades, but the Splyce lineup. Splyce will be the first team we can kind of review here and talk about more in depth. And this isn't a team that we know to be heavy hitters. We don't know them to be leading the pack across North America. But what else is there to say about these guys? I
mean, we have some names that we're familiar with, especially Roka, being this all-around guy who's been around forever. Has an insane talent for the game, I'd say. Movement-wise, he's pretty good, but never really got it to go anywhere. And same goes for a lot of these players. I feel like Davey has been around forever. Semphis as well. He used to be part of the old Cloud9 lineup who did pretty well. So there's a lot of names that you actually know and you're familiar with, but it's sort of like the leftovers in that sense. The guys who never really made it the step further in that sense. And then you combine that with Exotic, which is the new guy, currently the youngest player in this NA Pro League. So a nice prospect. And what we see from him thus far is great. He has arguably been the best player thus far in the season, and that's pretty impressive considering how young he is. And this is actually his first real team in that sense. First time he's playing on a professional Counter-Strike team.
If you were Splyce, you'd kind of hope that you can fiddle with time a little bit, so you can go back to kind of the peak of Semphis, the peak of Davey, the peak of Roka, and kind of have all of those guys in the lineup with Exotic right now, and that would probably mount to a pretty decent team that would actually be scary to actually go up against for a lot of these playoff hopefuls. That really hasn't been the case for the better part of this season so far. The only really shining light has been Exotic, but you have to take what you have really and what you can work with, and Exotic has been at least a very interesting prospect.
We have a saying called "play the ball where it lies." Well, when I say we, I just mean golfers. I'm not really a golfer. So. With that, though, I mean, we could talk about bringing back the form of some of these older players on the Splyce lineup, but there's no such thing as a time machine. So realistically, what can we look at here?
I mean, we look at Renegades being the heavy favorites going into this matchup, without a doubt. As Halvar said, if you look past 2 years ago, 3 years ago, then maybe we would have said otherwise now. But as you said, there's no going back in Counter-Strike. These guys are just not on the level they once were, and match player for player against you still at JKM, Nifty, JKS, and ACR. They're just not good enough in that sense. It's a complete different level. We've seen Renegades actually being able to qualify for tournaments consistently. We've seen Renegades been able to go to playoff stints in tournament almost consistently as well, which is a complete new thing for our NA squad or an Australian team playing in NA. So a lot of positives coming out of Renegades, and we haven't really seen anything from Splyce. The only thing they play is these qualifiers where they never qualify, and then they play ESL Pro League where they never do well but somehow manage to stay up. So like we need to see something more, and we need to see them take a step further in that direction. That's what they're trying with Exotic. We just haven't seen any direction, any path leading towards that.
I guess to be fair, there's a bit of a talent in itself to kind of just stay afloat.
Yeah.
Obviously, depending on your ambition level, might not be where you want to be, but that it is at least better than other scenarios.
Other scenarios. Well, the Renegades looked good during the summer months, or excuse me, not the summer months, but looked good a few months ago. We do know them to have picked up the Star Ladder big trophy, at least in Shanghai. And since then, they have had a little bit of a fluctuation when it comes to rosters. Naf, having left that lineup, has left a little bit of a void to fill. Do we feel like he's actually had his void filled?
I honestly, at least compared to my expectations going into this, I would say that void was definitely filled by JKM. He was doing really well for himself. He's been coming out, and he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's a fragger. He's not the most cerebral player. He's not necessarily one guy who can pick up an off and that kind of stuff and be, I guess, hard to deal with in that sense. But he's an extremely good aimer, very solid mechanically, and he's done his part very well to this point.
Well, we do have a guy on the Renegades, and his name is Justin Savage. The best last name globally. There's really no way you could take away from that. We did, however, have a chance to sit down with him and see what he had to say. Let's check it out with JKS.
Individually, myself, I'd say that I'm getting back to the form I want to be in. I'm actually playing a lot of Counter-Strike in the last month or so just to get back to where I was, because I didn't feel like I was playing very well in the last few months with Naf on the team. So with Jacob, it's been kind of a refreshment, I guess. I'd say a lot of people were actually surprised with picking him up, just because he hasn't played in quite a while at top level. Myself, Carlo and Aaron, the Australians in the team, I'd say that we're all quite upbeat and happy, and I think that's why Jacob fits really well into the team, along with Noah. We haven't had a lot of time to practice with him and implement some new stuff, so right now we're going off some of our old stuff and fitting him in as we go. So far we're just kind of playing it tournament by tournament, but yeah, of course if he plays really well and he keeps it up, then yeah, we would obviously look at him to be a permanent fifth in the team. Nifty and the coach looks after the rest of us. He's really good at keeping everyone kind of in that positive vibe, just so that before we go into a tournament, everyone's got their head straight and that we can all perform at our best. I think we all just trust in him because he's such a really good player and he actually wants to do that role. So that puts a lot more trust in him for the rest of the team, like someone who actually wants to do that role, which is probably the hardest role on the team. And at the same time, he's also our AWPer, so he's kind of similar to Fallen from SK, I'd say. We do watch a lot of Australian Counter-Strike when we're at home when we have free time. And I'd say that, yeah, the level is definitely getting higher, and I hope it continues to get higher because it's awesome to see other Australian teams at overseas tournaments. I hope that we don't face each other just so that we both can go as far as we could in the tournament. Coming off Star Series, we actually had a good placement there, so I'd say that we actually do have quite a lot of confidence in ourselves at this tournament. The main goal is obviously to make it out of groups, but with Jake and the team, we're constantly improving and constantly trying to add new stuff. I think that we're just taking each tournament to kind of boost our level in-game and our chemistry together, one tournament at a time. But I'm very ready to play. I'm really excited to play versus Astralis first round, and hopefully we do good and we can make it onto the stage.
The Renegades showing promise there, just on the short side of having to go to IM Sydney later on, which should be a pretty cool experience for those guys, especially the home crowd. You love to see that.
Yeah, and it's a rowdy home crowd as well. So,
Shoeies and all, just really getting in there.
They're just full-on Australian experience, and obviously for those guys who spend pretty much their entire year away from home. I mean, you barely, with the tournament schedule, you barely get any chances to actually go home and see your family and friends and so on. So you really want to make the most out of it when you first get back. And for Renegades to make it, have a stage experience, versus some of the best teams in the world in front of a home crowd, that could be, what they're looking for. That could be the big goal of the year.
But tonight, this is not their home crowd. This is online ESL Pro League. So things are slightly different from that LAN atmosphere. But I need to ask you guys, because it's just about time to get the game, give me a prediction and make it quick.
Make it quick. We're starting out on cash. Renegades Notorious are known for being a great cash team. Nothing tells me that Splyce is going to be able to put up a fight. Should be an easy game for Renegades.
Yeah, really just copy paste what Jacob was saying there. I think it's going to be a pretty handed Renegades victory.
Well, copy pasta's in hand. Let's go ahead and bring in the commentators who seemingly don't have any pasta in their hands, but they're ready to get this action underway. We're going into cash, boys. How are you feeling about this matchup?
Feeling good. Some slight plagiarism there by Vendetta. I think we're gonna have to dock 2 points.
What? Yeah, and I mean his shirt is the most the most creased thing ever. So there's that as well.
Blood
That's probably a -1.
Going after the fashion. All right. So
I mean,
Vendetta,
hopefully Renegades have ironed out the creases with their Norwegian better than we have.
There he
with
is.
ours.
He's
good.
full circle.
There we go.
He wasn't got over the weekend.
He was
feeling good.
Calm down, boys. Calm down.
We were just excited.
Let's get this matchup underway. Take it away, Jason Moses O'Toole.
Thank you. Let's get it on, I believe is the saying that goes. Yeah, this is certainly, you have to think Splyce, Renegades is going to be the favorite in this matchup. Certainly 2 copy-paste off the other 2 analysts. Doesn't seem like there's much of a chance.
No, I mean, I do like Splyce. I like Splyce, but I do think Renegades look better here.
If you were making a case for Splyce, where would you go?
Just hope Exotic does well.
Okay.
I think so much of it comes down to that now. Like, there's no denying it, right? He's definitely the young sort of star of the team.
Yeah.
And I think other than that, you're going to really need Drone and Roka to be performing. They're kind of the other 2 that I think can do the damage. But, I mean, for me, it is Renegades who should be taking this regardless.
Right, and especially on the verge of, or on the eve of them, getting announced for IEM Sydney. That's something that should have some extra motivation. Maybe make them feel a little bit better about the Counter-Strike that they'll be playing. Certainly, though, Cash is going to be tough. I know going back, I've played some of these Renegades guys on Cash last year at Sydney, and they've got their stuff down, Harry.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can certainly imagine they do. I think this team has started to look really quite promising. Everyone kind of thought it was all over when NAF left, right? Or maybe not all over, but people thought it'd be a significant blow.
It was a bit sketchy, wasn't it?
Yeah. But Jacob, I think, has done a very good job of kind of filling the boots of NAF. Like, it's no easy task, right? He's a pretty hard hitter to have to try and step up to become. But
yeah,
Jacob's been doing good.
He's been rolling back the years, hasn't he? Because it was so long ago that we had a lot of hope and promise for this guy as a player. And he kind of got lost in some of the other situations that were going on. His time in FaZe, that kind of weird roster that they had, could never really get going. So it is good to kind of see him back. And he certainly did pick up some of the slack of NAF. And the wild thing was, I know when he joined that team, it felt like, I think the announcement was almost something like he was just there as like on a trial period, which we hear so frequently now. And it feels like he's really done a good job of playing himself into this roster.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that they're all getting along quite well as well, like to bolster that, right? So not only is he doing well, but kind of outside of the game, everyone's gelling quite nicely, which is always good to see.
Yeah, no, it is. And now it feels like also, just with this roster in general, it feels like they're going to have to play themselves into keep some of these young guys, and guys like Nifty, maybe Jacob himself. They have to start getting some results in order to keep this roster together.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of imagine, right, if you're Nifty, maybe eyeing up some of the other teams if the offer were to come along, because he's certainly both a fantastic AWP and a really good IGL. I think he was actually compared to Fallen by a couple of pros. So yeah, I mean, what a comparison to have.
Yeah, definitely a comparison to have. And actually, to help us compare and contrast those two players, it's going to be we're going to bring the analysts back into it. They didn't want to leave. They've been begging to get back into the action.
You know, sometimes when you taste it, Jason, you just can't stop.
Yeah, eyes bigger than your mouth, or eyes bigger than your stomach, I think is the saying.
Yeah, something along those lines. And I know you guys, it's kind of like icing the kicker. You know, we kind of set them up to get into the game. And he said, no. We're not quite ready for that.
Sorry, we haven't blown our load too early, Trace.
Never want to blow your load too early, according to Jason Moses O'Toole, which I'm not going to disagree by any stretches of imagination. Now, with that, Splyce and Renegades to kick us off here. I don't want us to beat a dead horse, but Splyce are the underdogs here. Splyce are the team that really needs to step up and show something.
We need to see more from them, basically, and we need to see something, I don't know, something extraordinary coming out of Exotic for this to work out for them. He's been looking good in this lineup, definitely. He's been an improvement for sure, but the lineup itself, the core of the lineup, is just not good enough to go up against teams like Renegades, NRG for that matter, teams that you would expect them to fight for against these top 7, top 8 spots, top 6 spots in the league. So Splyce is going to be this placeholder team for another season, and they're going to fight for not getting relegated. And thus far, you know, if that's the ambition, if that's the goal, when you look at the standings, it's actually looking okay for them, and they had a decent start to the season. As you said, you know, it was a fairly easy schedule as well. So they should bring in those points. But when you look them going up against a team like Renegades, who's having more success than pretty much ever with the core of this lineup at least, then I don't see where it goes in their favor, especially when you consider the first map is Cash, a map that Renegades always been notoriously known for being good at. I even remember when I was playing in Team Liquid, we stopped practicing Cash against Renegades because they were just rolling all over us. You know, there was no point in playing it against them because they were just too good for us apparently. So and that was a lot of like the assumptions from the pro teams in NA. So I'm having a hard time seeing where Splyce is going to kick the ball.
Yeah, no, instead of like something extraordinary from the side of Exotic, I think it's the 4 others that kind of need to get into tune of things and actually get up to his level as well. Because as we mentioned, there's just been one real player to talk about from Splyce's side up to this point of the season, and that's been Exotic. So now it's on the 4 others who actually have the experience, who have been through multiple seasons Pro League, to actually showcase that they do belong, that they're not just necessarily riding the coattails of Exotic to maintain a Pro League spot, right? Like, because you don't want to do that. And obviously, we talked about this in the previous matchups, you know, week 2 and week 1, when we had Splyce playing, the fact that it's not like these players have kind of given up on going to a better team. Obviously, like, this is a stepping stone for them in hopes of finding something better in the future. And obviously, if you're going to, you know, gain any sort of interest from other teams, and you're going to have to play better. So this is going to be the best shot you have at it. As you mentioned, Splyce don't necessarily make it to a whole lot of tournaments otherwise outside of Pro League. So this is their Champions League. This is where they have to perform if they want to move on to better things.
That as well, and you're saying spot on. I'd say, you know, Semphis and Roke, you know, this is a team where Splyce is their end team. You know, if they don't make Splyce good, then they're not going to go to another great team or go to another decent team. This is their last chance, and like they're in their careers fall, if you can say so, and they don't have many chances left. So this is their time to actually get back on the horse and shine and bring in these young players like Exotic, make it work. And so far it's been looking better than last season, I'd say. So definitely improvements. But again, if your ambition is just to stay in Pro League, then fine. We don't expect nothing more from you. But if you actually want to go up and fight for the playoff spot, or at least fight for a top 7, top 8 contender, then you need to show more, especially in a year where there's only 12 teams in the LA League. There's not even 14 anymore, so it should be easier for you as well. We just need to see more, and we need to see more from the old guard, as you said, Semphis, Roka, Davey for that matter, Drone.
Well, you know, if we were to say words like complacency, it would obviously be pure speculation. We don't know what's going on within the camp. We don't know why they haven't found this nitrous boost that sends them into playoffs.
Maybe they're just not good enough.
Perhaps.
Could be, yeah.
Let's go ahead and get a good shot here of who says that when they say that. So just to clarify here, you might be right. It might be that the skill level is just simply not going to be there. And with that, I wouldn't expect you guys to change your predictions at all. We are about 1 minute out from the game. And with that said, I'm going to give you one opportunity, guys. Online Counter-Strike, do you change your predictions?
No.
No, there's no way. Not this one. Not on Cash. Had it been another map, then the answer would be no too. So, no. Just no.
Just no?
Just no.
What do you think, Halvor?
I'm not really convinced. And even though you've written up diagrams and that kind of make the case for Splyce, I'm not falling for it. You know, I'm not gonna go for the 1-1 or something here. I'm not crazy like Pimp.
You don't want to go for the 1-1. You want to go for the 2-0.
Yeah.
and two guys that have never lost anything in their entire lives.
That's
Harold and Jason. Not to be confused with Harold and
Moses
Kumar.
lost his hair. Just want to point that out.
Got a really good point. Also lost my dignity along the way somewhere.
Wow. How about you guys lose yourself into this matchup, and we'll see you later.
Doing my best. Doing my best, boys. Thank you for the save once again. Have a good one with your time off. We're back. What have you lost lately? Your mind? Marbles?
No, I mean, yeah, probably those two things.
There we are. Well said.
Fantastic.
A man of few words.
Yeah, what a great start.
Yeah. Well, we are going to be going live into this one. It has taken a little bit to get it started, but certainly we're here, and we've heard the analysts wax lyrical for some time now, so we don't need to touch on it too much. Do you think this is shifting away from the single map? Do you think this is a 2-0 situation in this best of 2?
I mean, it's online CS, right, so we can never be sure. I think you would have to look at Renegades to pick it up 2-0, but I think, you know, if like Splyce is a team that could definitely cause the upset here. I'm not going to say it's like a definitive 2-0. Like if this was like Renegades versus Ghost or Dignitas, I would just say like 2-0 hands down.
Okay.
But I do think Splyce are a
So you
team
put
that
Splyce
can.
a tier above those guys?
I do, yeah.
Well, we'll have to find out live here under the pistol round, and Renegades are not messing around. Nothing subtle about this one. 5-man hit towards the A bomb site. Going to be a smoke for Highway. Sempus has to be careful he doesn't get caught off guard trying to hold on to this site too staunchly. He does have a teammate here, and actually now he's got drone as well at the truck, and that's a good kill right through the smoke. Unfortunately, it's traded off immediately by Azza. And now you can see a 4-on-4. The bomb is being planted. It's a retake scenario. No smoke for the CT side. 2 flashes and a kit on Davey.
Yeah, it is going to be tricky for them. Semphis is the first man to show on up. Still going to be holding, waiting for his teammates now to start to push up with him. Davey going to lead this charge in, and he does go down as a result. And if he's going to take one more and a second, wants to try and make it 3. Roker is going to start to pull it back. But as there to trade, it does mean Renegades will be finding themselves the pistol around here, getting a good start early on Cash, which everyone has kind of highlighted. This is a good map for them. So finding themselves with this, and now the potential to take an early 3-round lead, definitely going to come in handy. And getting off to a good start. Continue, start as you mean to go on is the saying that comes to mind.
We're actually starting to see this more and more. Lesser investment in the second round, especially for the CT side. You can see Roka and Drone have bought up pistol armor. The Davey and Semphis and Exotic, they buy the Deagles with no armor, so that's obviously used to have some kind of an advantage or a better situation into the 4th round if they're not to win this. So it's less of a risk overall, and you can still turn the round on its head considering those Deagles can be so powerful. So Renegades going through all the motions. Nades and Molotovs to clear out the corners. Pop flash over so Ozzy can peek up, and he sees nothing. His teammates are covering his back, and this is very slow-paced and passive from the mostly Australian side. And they're going to let Azza scout up into this A bomb site. See what he can find. He's got one at truck, one over at forklift as well.
Yeah, rest of his team start to make their way over here towards main. 3 players there. Azza, as you say, lies in wait over here on highway. Has to be a bit careful because if he does head out, just as I got to say it, Semphis kind of gets out of position. Drone's going to try peeking in, and that's good damage found onto Jacob. Azza still hasn't revealed his position over on the highway. Now going to start to come creeping in. Azza does manage to find the first. JKS going to get rid of Semphis, and Azza doesn't stop just yet. We'll come to regret that decision as Exotic does drop him from the equation. Roker's going to go down shortly after, and Exotic now trying to trade things back with the Deeg from truck. Jacob's tagged down low. Davy's been spotted out. JKS takes a bit of a time to find it, but you still is going to finish things off. Renegades will be in with this second round. 3K there from JKS just to help build up that confidence early on. And yeah, now just for Splyce, going to be an eco.
Yeah, good round from Renegades as well. Only 1 loss, and they even upgrade the UMP into an AK-47, so nothing too crazy going down there. Just slow paced and making sure they've got it all covered. Full utility as well into this next round, so not playing any games whatsoever. This might be, it's looking like it's going to be a bit more fast-paced, although from both sides. Semphis does have a flashbang that he can use for a pop flash. They're hoping it was going to be some kind of a fast play towards this B bomb site. They might eventually get their wish. There's still potential for this to fall into a mid to B split, with 3 coming through vents and the bomb rotating over towards Sunroom. All depends on what Renegades can find, and this is pretty much the same exact setup they had during the previous round, and this is exactly what Splyce want. Now, still far chance they'll actually be able to win, but with the UMP leading the way, Renegades get the opening kill. There's the flashbang out. It does blind the players in checker. That's a long route for Splyce to run, and they're all unblind by the time the engagements occur. And with 4 kills here at this B bomb site, surely they're going to check every corner for the 5th, and they do. Clean sweep for Renegades, and now we get into the gun round.
Another buy is going to come on in. Exotic, he can get himself the AWP, has armor with it, which is always nice. That comes, of course, as a consequence of him saving up into that second round. For Renegades, not needed to rebuy down on anyone from the previous round. Does mean they have a decent bit of money. Jacob's going to keep the UMP. And early on for Splyce, 3 players over here towards A. Renegades start to make their way pretty quickly, although have actually ditched control of main. And that's going to allow Semphis and Drone to take control of this early on. One thing you've kind of highlighted in the past is the need to take aggression elsewhere if you're not really keeping an eye on mid. They have got Davey nearby, but he's going to start to fall back from middle.
And that's a really cool sequence what they did to just take over A main. The double Molotov forces players out, prevents them from falling back, and exposes them to potential for the pop flash. A lot of utility, though, and they didn't actually gain anything but map control from it. And Renegades leaning towards this B bomb site. They have a lot of players here. Now that the mid player is gone, Roka's gone down. There's only one. That's Exotic with the AWP in this B bomb site. He's got to hold them all off. And we'll see if he can do it. Has to hit some early shots. There's the first. No utility to use. There's a teammate's pop flash, but he needed to land that shot, and he didn't do it. Surely he's going to go down at any moment. And it's just being piled on by Renegades. They're going to get into this B bomb site. It's a 4-on-2. Semphis and Drone can't even think about retaking.
That's a free upgrade onto the AWP as well for Nifty. Semphis and Drone, as you say, just going to have to save. And, you know, moments like that felt like it could have been the big moment for the man that we've been bigging up so much on Splyce. But as you kind of said, does fall short. And, you know, usually it's kind of the big plays like that we see him look quite comfortable in. It's usually the more kind of more basic shots, I would say, that elude the young AWPer for Splyce. But, yeah, it's going to be a 4th round now for Renegades. They only lose 1 player here as well, so they will go hunting. They're going to try and take everything they can out the hands of Splyce. And Jacob looks to be this first point of contact. He's going to go pushing in. Discover where they are. Semphis has gone down. Drone's going to fall as well. Jacob somehow takes them both with the UMP. And that means no weapon saved. Splyce just going to have to partial buy down here. And perhaps most importantly, even though they go hunting, Renegades don't lose anyone. So they keep 4 players alive, upgrade onto the AWP for free. They've got so much money now, Jason.
Yeah, they really do. That was a brilliant round for them in a lot of different ways. And they've taken everything away. Just the pistols. So Splyce staring down an early hole, as we kind of expected to a certain degree. Next round they'll have the full losing bonus, so a chance to respond, a chance to bounce back and get things started in a better way. Although, to be fair, in the 4th round they had pretty much everything they wanted. They weren't really missing any nades. They had the AWP out on the field as well, so that's got to be disheartening. And Nifty surely spots the shoulder there, times the shoulder peek that follows. That's an opening pick for him, watching for a B push from afar. And Splyce gambling with a big lean towards this A half of the map. Can't really blame him a whole lot. 2 Deagles, a CZ, and a P250 on Drone. And Renegades has done this multiple times. 1 player up highway, just getting into this very same position, gather information, maybe try and find a pick if someone overextends, but Ustilo is doing great. We saw Alza here earlier in the half.
He just has to hold his nerve, resist this temptation to go for the information play out towards A. And actually, he's going to start to slip on in, and the timing's pretty perfect for him here, although he doesn't account for the man on forklift. But he still has got to pick Drone up anyway. It all falls onto Davey with the CZ. Oh, you still are going to turn back around and actually able to find him. Renegades in with their 5th. And now the buy's going to come back in for Splyce. Up out for Exotic. Once again, everything they could need. This buy is better than their buy in round 4. But you kind of feel like it's do or die time now, really, for Splyce early on, at least. They want to try and... Because otherwise, this Renegades economy is going to get insanely out of hand. I mean, we've only seen, I think, 5 deaths in the whole game thus far for anyone on Renegades. And I think it was 3 of them coming from the pistol round. So,
and for those tuning in at home, that is not a good thing. Just in case. Ooh, here we go. They're mimicking... What was this? This was FaZe that did that, wasn't it? Oh, the double! Nifty does him one better. That is disgusting. Guardian showed that off earlier, but bless it all if Nifty doesn't just straight up kneecap Splyce.
I mean, oh, if you're Splyce, that has got to just feel so devastating. You know, you're full prey to the run booster. Not only it somehow gets both. That is unreal. I mean, the second that happens, this round is already over and done with. That B-bomb site is taken in one singular bullet from the leader and AWPer for Renegades. That is unreal.
It's just so soul-crushing if you're Splyce. 2 players down immediately, and including the AWP. So have all the ideas you had about turning things in your favor, getting started into the half, getting your first round on the board, now just gone. And Renegades, they have a long time to hunt these down. You can see Ozza opening the door. The rest of his teammates now here to start pressuring. They've got to know one is in quad. Now they know one's in the site as well. Ozza spamming away, everyone else joining up, and they are not going to let them get away. Drones occupied, can't keep track of above them, and there goes Semphis. No one falling. Not a single point of damage dealt to Renegades in that round. A flawless victory in a big way, and all 5 players now over 10,000. This is disgusting. That's nasty.
I love it. It's very rare, you know, you actually really see the run boost lead to much. They always feel like they're really cool, but they always feel really anticlimactic in comparison to what you know they could be, and that was one that really kind of lived up to the hype of it. Nifty is going to be feeling good after that. And still, only 2 kills found in any of these rifle rounds onto the Renegades players. They are laughing as their money starts to build up. Splyce have gone for a force buy here, and now they look to try and batten down the hatches over in mid. They dedicated all 5 players here, and they are just going to wait.
It's not a bad stack to throw out towards mid, because you know Renegades have done it a couple times. You've had Ustillo in that position, Ozza, as we mentioned earlier, as well. So you know Renegades have put some emphasis on the middle portion of the map, especially in their anti-eco, so why not just stack it up, see if you can stop it, see if you can create something with these deagles. And unfortunately, Renegades is 5 steps ahead of them. They're going to head over towards this A bomb site, basically a repeat of the pistol round. There's some tags from Semphis from Highway going on, but there's no danger actually in this A bomb site, and Renegades is going to start to realize that, drop a smoke out, and that'll neutralize all these players on Highway for Splyce. And this is going to be an easy round again for Renegades. Still, no one going down in these past few rounds, and they're going to be at a point where all 5 players might even just start getting up towards 16K. And as I say that, a couple kills go the way of Splyce as Renegades tries to chase them down with their half armor and pistols. Davey has salvaged an AK-47. They'd like to take that away, but he might be too far off.
Yeah, so Davey is at least going to get away with the AK, or at least that's what it looks like. As it does start to come his way, so maybe not. Maybe he won't be so fortunate. Jacob's here to try and trade. No, Davey gonna go down at Renegades. They are right now just walking over Splyce. Not quite in the situation where everyone's at 16,000. We do, however, though, have 4 players at around about 14,000, which is pretty insane. Tactical timeout called in, and I think justifiably so for Splyce. Running into some problems, to say the least, here early on.
Yeah, this is getting a bit out of hand. Obviously, a couple of kills coming out at the end, but that's just, you know, a drop in the bucket. That is the economy of Renegades at the moment. So, yeah, if Splyce wants to get back into this, and also important just to keep morale up so you don't just straight up fold, which is a very easy thing to do in this juncture in the game. Down 7-0 as Renegade looking almost unstoppable. A little bit of luck going their way as well. But they seem well-drilled, a well-oiled machine. Another chance here for Splyce. We'll see what they bring into the action. And yeah, you're right. There's only 7 kills on the board right now for Splyce. 7 rounds in. That is a disaster of a game so far.
Yeah, it's so important to just not completely, as you said, like not just completely fold if you're Splyce, and that's a pretty hard thing to do when you're 7-0 down. Working out a kill around. So they've gone for the buy here. Exotic's back on the AWP over here towards B. This time, though, they've switched things up. They've boosted Roka into vents. Now he's got that crossfire with Davey over in middle. So we are seeing Splyce looking to try and keep things fresh, keep adapting. But Renegades have kind of had their number every time. Will it be different at this time around, though? They look to try and maybe boost the man up early on over in towards middle. Smoke gets lined up in it to Z. 3 players slowly but surely making their way over towards this B-bomb site. And Exotic, he's starting to creep up past the smoke. Might be able to find the frag here onto JKS or Jacob as they start now to round the corner. Jacob's the first man in. Exotic gets nothing done. He's already gone down. Man advantage picked up for Renegades, and now it all falls onto Roka to try and haul things back here at this B-bomb site.
Another opening kill going the way of Renegades, and that AWP for Splyce hasn't done too well. Maybe only, well, nothing's really gone too well for Splyce in this game so far. That Molotov is well timed, but Yustilo's going to beat it, and he's going to lead the way, creating plenty of space. And Roka had just rotated out of that B-bomb site when his teammate fell and kind of committed to that, coming through the smoke, actually. He does get one. That's all he's going to be able to do. Davy's now here, but he's alone as well. Semphis is coming up slowly towards the upper portion, and Davy, ooh, that's a nice find, again through the smoke. So a 3-on-3, the first real chance it feels Splyce has had in this half. Great nades onto Jacob, down to 1 health, and Nifty, he's got a big job to do, and they have to start calling Azza in for reinforcements. He's got to get on his horse and arrive, and a missed shot from Nifty. That's not going to help anyone. There's the follow-up. Jacob does go down inside the bomb site. Nifty with an angle, but Azza on the flank, and Semphis has to find him if he can, but just barely misses it. He gets around the wall, and Nifty shuts it down. It's going to be 8-0, and Renegades hold on to a post plant.
Maybe one good thing that Splyce can take away from that, at least, is it felt like they actually had a shot to win the round there. They weren't just completely stomped out. But still, it's not too great if you are Splyce. Of course, it's very tricky. I think it was you who said this is. At this point, you know, nothing's really been working out. So when it comes to trying to figure out what to do next, you don't really have any baseline to go off of, right? You can't look at things that have gone well for you, because right now nothing has really gone well for you.
I mean, the big key is you can't, if you're going to get picked off, if you're going to lose the battle for the opening kill, you have to be able to trade that at the very least, because what's been happening is, oh, there's a great find from Exotic. I was going to say what's been happening is he's gotten picked off a number of times with that op, which is a big investment to go quiet for you. Here he gets an opening with the Deagle. We'll see what else they have. Semphis waiting inside the bomb site. There's a great headshot on Azza. Goes for more, and he gets it. Davy chiming in, and who would have thought? The CZs are going to work where rifles couldn't. Although, hold that thought, JKS has 2 kills. He's being flanked out at the moment, but he's taking his time. He's got just under a minute. And he seems to sense that this flank is a real possibility. Because Drone has an angle into A main, I doubt Roka peeks, although he is going to. Shows a little bit of leg, and that's going to be his downfall. And the headshot from JKS over towards Forklift. And that cannot happen if you're Splyce. If you have no rounds on the board, you cannot be losing, what was that, a 4-on-1 at one point, I think it was?
Yeah,
maybe a 3-on-1?
Oh, that's soul destroying. At least they can get the buy up now.
Roka doesn't need to peek there, because Drone's looking at A main. He knows exactly where he is. Roka just plays contact. Wait for his teammate to take the first shot just to survive. Doesn't even have to commit to the fight. And then Roka swings out, and then Drone swings out as well. But Roka making contact there is in a position where Drone cannot possibly help him out if the angle isn't just perfect. So misplay in a 2-on-1, and that's what'll happen to you.
Yeah, well, now they've got the double up set up in place. Semphis going to be picking that up along with Exotic. And you know, Semphis, there was a brief stint where he used to be an AWPer. Of course, now that role has fallen onto Exotic, but
those were dark times.
Yeah.
Dark times.
But now they have this versatility to break out the double up setup, and usually it's pretty strong for Splyce. Oh. Okay, doesn't want to jump down in the knowledge that JKS was here over towards B. Oh, timing's not good for Semphis, just unscopes at the wrong time and ends up missing on the potential to pick up the man advantage. They're going to try boosting into vent, but there's a man there. Jacob waits on the corner. He doesn't see this coming, and Roka's up in the vents. Timing's going to be everything here as Roka could potentially find both kills down here in mid. Neither one of them looking towards the vents right now.
It almost feels like he's tempered, though, by the fact that they just haven't had any success. Now he's going to peek out. He's going to miss his shots. He's going to miss everything. Jacob, 32 HP, and Roka misses a sitter. Davy swings out. He does find a double, completes that kill, but they know Drone is an A main. They're aware of the possibility. That's going to be tough. There's a good frag, and here's another flank from the B bomb site, but the bomb is planted, and it's a really awkward situation. Nifty in a 1-on-2. He's blind inside the site, and he's gotten off. He has to get aggressive somewhere, but he just can't. The no-scope isn't going to land, and that's the round. That's going to be Splyce getting there first, surely. Yes, there's the kit. And Exotic just holding the angle. He does eventually die. Drone gets the defuse, but, ooh, just one tapped right in the face. So a win, but the worst possible kind of win if you're Splyce.
Yeah, this was nice from Davey. Bit of a recovery from him and actually allowed them back into that round. And yeah, it was a weird scenario where just, you know, you're alone with Nifty inside the site, has to 1v2, and that you kind of felt like there was no way for Splyce to misplay that 1 versus 2 there. You know, you just have to peek at the same time. Both coming in from different angles, knowing that JKS is so far away. There was almost no way for Renegades back into it. Maybe if Nifty had found 1, would have been a different story. Yeah. But of course, you know, the pressure was on. A missed shot. Now the timeout called in for Splyce. And at least now they have a round to go off of, you know. I mean, as you said, it wasn't the best victory they could have hoped for. But at least they know now that something is working out for them. And the Renegades aren't just this immortal beast that they've been struggling to overcome.
Well, they have to build on it here, or it might be a very short second half. Staring down the face of a double eco, of a complete reset into the economy. Looks like they want to go for that main control once again. 2 Molotovs and a pop flash. But over towards the B bomb site, everything's gone wrong. JKS does find Roka deep into the bomb site, so that's going to cause them, thank God they got that main controller, just peeked and saw no presence. Looks like they're boosting up now over towards A. They're going to keep 2 at B, which is a good call for the moment, as the bomb is rotating here. Davey has the unenviable job of holding mid, and now he's got to give that up as JKS gets yet another one. Those are just straight up duels won by the AK-47. Players from Splyce just dying way too quick, way too early for no reason. Now here comes the utility from the Australians, going to string into this B bomb site. Davey's blind, and he's got so much to do. Pop flash comes in from a teammate, able to spray down 2, but finally the trade, and still a long way to go. JKS 13 HP, 3 kills in the round. He's done everything for Renegades, and Sempus eventually does finish him off, but the bomb is going to get tapped and faked. Nifty wants to, what looks like, go for a kill before he gets this bomb planted, and he's going to eat his nade for his troubles into a 2-on-2.
Yeah, Sempus actually rotated back round over into middle. They know that both those nades came from heaven, but they still keep an eye on Vent. Nifty's made his way through. Oh. Sempus has been spotted, just sticking out a bit further than perhaps he realized, but Drone's found Nifty. Now the pressure's on for Azza. As Drone gets inside of the site, Azza 1 versus 2. Bomb is planted for him. They have to try and take this duel and deal with him, and he's able to find the first. Now it all falls onto Drone. He taps the bomb. Azza doesn't fall for it. Drone's back on it once again. Azza just peeking into the angle. Drone might get the frag, but Azza has locked in the round. He goes down to the bomb as well, and Renegades, they're going to answer back very quickly with a 10th. Both teams lose everyone, but that is much, much worse for Splyce.
It's a disaster for Splyce. I mean, you're just losing players to JKS, who's just straight up winning fights over towards that B bomb site. We didn't see the opening kill that he got. We saw like just the kind of dead body, I guess, into that B bomb site. But I mean, you can't lose those guys that early on, especially when you have a lot of manpower and utility being used up over towards A to get A main control. This time a rush, essentially, from Renegades out mid. They've got control very quickly. And Nifty could be in for a dirty surprise here as he turns the corner. They swing past what he's able to handle. Jacob, though, still alive. They do line up. Exotic going to end him with a headshot. And the bomb is left alone. That's going to be JKS, his responsibility to pick it up and bring it over towards that A bomb site, because it's clear Splyce has gone to the other side of the map.
Yeah, the thing I'm loving right now is Renegades, they're still being so careful, right? So many teams, maybe if you're up 10-1, they might like look to start making some mistakes, start to feel confident so they don't check the obvious things. And JKS, he's certainly checking everything. That first kill he got in the previous round was, I think it was Drone, who got boosted over and...
Oh, did you just check that?
Yeah, and he checked for the boost.
I was wondering how he died so deep into the bomb site.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And, yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's kind of the story of JKS right now, is he's not leaving anything unchecked, not leaving anything up to chance, and it's definitely paying off for them. So he's still looking to try and mop these players up over in mid, and he will find all 3. So they still can't seem to catch a break. Renegades now move on to an 11th round. And there still isn't any money really for Splyce to work with here.
That's the real disaster of losing, of getting reset in this way. Because remember, the round they won had 0 players surviving, and then the ensuing round they had again 0 players surviving and a loss. So just never able to build up any kind of money, and that's been the story. Is Splyce not only just getting trounced by Renegades individually across the map, but they also have just never been able to sustain any kind of continuous pressure that they're able to put on from the defensive position. There's an opening kill on a drone. Semphis going to pop out a door, might catch Nifty, does catch him off guard, but uses every single bullet in the magazine. Does reload in time to find a second kill, and actually a quick flank from Roka yields him a headshot. That follow-up would have been great. And now it's all Exotic, and he's got to play the guessing game. JKS is coming to meet up with Jacob, and some shots with the Deagle at long range, but tapping away, the AK is superior. Gun's going to come out again for Splyce, and I mean, needless to say, they need these last 2 rounds.
And Exotic being like kind of the youngest player, I think actually the youngest in Pro League right now, was what we were told earlier. And also, you know, kind of the least experienced. Do you think being down at this deficit is going to start to really affect him? Because it feels like he has been the first man down in a lot of these rounds for Splyce. And he's not in his usual form.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's not only that, it's the team score as well. And usually when you're getting beat this bad, there's some kind of like miscommunication or some kind of disagreement on how to properly play different scenarios. And I think it's that stress more than any kind of scoreboard, individual or team-wise, that's really going to grind you down and make you kind of frustrated as a player, is the knowledge that, you know, you want to do something to counter what Renegades is doing and maybe your teammate doesn't. Azan Yustilo considered boosting up. They're not going to. They're just going to come right through. Great kills, though. And within 1 second, the A bomb site, the defense there is just shattered and run over. The 13th for Renegades. And Splyce now at this stage in the game, not even really putting up any kind of struggle whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even really feel like they're fighting back. They've just kind of given in. Renegades, they're looking good. Going to be on to a 13th here. And we kind of, you know, kept emphasizing how good this team usually is on cash, but they are feeling it right now. And of course, you know, as that lead widens, Renegades are only ever going to feel more confident. And that's definitely showing. It is going to be that 13th. No one stays alive for Splyce. Maybe the one thing that would be good is if Splyce start to make a comeback, you could, in theory, you know, that would be quite tilting to Renegades. You know, when you start to lose such a big lead. But that's still a long way out, that even happening. You know, I doubt that's even crossing their mind.
I mean, it's a long way off, even if they went on a big streak. It's a long way off from even being able to call it a comeback still. And also, just like, you can't even imagine it being a possibility just by the way they're getting destroyed right now. So this has been great for Renegades. They've had a very easy time of things. What's the plan for Splyce in this round? UMP on Davey, 4 pistols, 1 kit. They've got decent smokes, 4 Molotovs as well, and a plethora of flashbangs, so they have some options. Aza's going to be hearing these footsteps and these jumps. And Drone is the only one at this bomb site, and he's making all this noise, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before he goes down, and it might not matter. Jacob just tapping away at the heads of Semphis and Roka, 2 kills in middle. Going to peer down in towards Checkers, but doesn't expose himself to Exotic at that kind of an angle. Now Renegades once again with not only 1 opening kill, but 2. They just got to hit pause and kind of see what Splyce decides to do to try and recover in this round.
Yeah, Drone's gone aggressive over here towards May. He's going to start to creep on in, and there are players there keeping an eye on it. Nifty looks to be this first point of contact, and actually now it's going to be Yustilo. He's got the bomb. Nifty's there to join him. Has found 1. Nifty's going to be able to trade. That's the load man over here towards A down. The bomb plant can come in now. That's going to be Davey and Exotic. 2 versus 4. Now Davey, he's been pretty good for Splyce. He was the man who kind of saved that 1 round they've got, but this time that's not going to happen. Renegades in with a 14th. The first half going to finish up 14-1 in favor of Renegades. They will take that all day long. Splyce, to say that they're on the back foot is an understatement. They're very far behind, and they are very much struggling here. And I hope we can see some sort of recovery from them at least. But right now, it's been an utter frag movie for Renegades.
Yeah, that's the cool part. If you're a Renegades fan, you've been able to watch all they're looking real solid. And I mean, you can always make the argument: is it because Splyce is playing bad, or because is Splyce playing bad because they're just so exceptionally well versed on this map at the moment? Regardless, you've got JKS, Jacob, and Yustilo, 17 and 18 kills on 3 of them, and no one on Splyce is above 56 ADR, which is just the thing of nightmares, the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, Renegades there with 3 players over 115 ADR. That is unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good old-fashioned smackdown. Well played from Renegades tonight, coming in hot. Doesn't bode well. I know that the general theory was, it's online, as you said. You can't really, you can't always predict what's going to happen in the following map, but certainly it's looking like Renegades are looking good for their second map as well, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, the pistol around here wins the map, is the thing, basically. I mean, you're relying on Splyce winning 4 spies from then on in. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, occasionally I'll message Drone on Splyce before he plays. I'll be like, yeah, good luck tonight. And every single time he lost, he said it was my fault. I'm bad luck. And so tonight, I didn't message him good luck.
Okay.
And
so you're saying your good luck is the difference between like 8 rounds and 1 round?
Yeah, take what you can get is my advice at this point.
If you were to hit your buddy Drone up right now and give him a halftime speech, what would you say?
We always need more analysts.
So, encourage retirement, huh?
No. I don't know. I think the only thing you can really do with your Splyce here is look to the next map, right? Like,
I think you're confused as to what a halftime speech is supposed to be, but you are right. We can always use more analysts. Either way, live into the second half, and then yeah, you said it. Pissed around will decide this one way or the other. If Renegades win, the game is over. Might even be, even if. Probably is, regardless of how this outcome is. And it looks like they want to throw a fake towards the A bomb site. Here's some typical flashes and smokes. Meanwhile, 3 players wait over towards the B bomb site. JKS cannot get pulled out of position, and he is. He's rotating away, but he should get back, and he is. He's here just in time, going to get smoked off, and not going to step in front of it, but they peek before the smoke blooms. Oh, and that's a small mistake that's going to have big consequences, and JKS spots the shadow. It's Davey in a 1-on-4, and he can do nothing. Nifty through the vents. Shuts things down, 15-1.
Yeah, and I think if you're Splyce now, you have to just kind of write this one off as Renegades hitting their shots and never really getting off to the best of starts. They still have the chance to split this series, and while it's not looking amazingly likely, Splyce definitely are a team that can bring the heat if they get the momentum going their way. Renegades have looked very good here. Cache used to be kind of a home map. A staple map for the Renegades roster, and that's still fairly true now. Train coming up next, I think, is one that Splyce could fare better on anyway. So there's always that fact to kind of rely on.
Faring better than a 15-1 is I think that's the definition of setting the bar low. So you're right in a way. You are right. How's it going to rotate down highway? He's completely blind, so here's some things that Splyce can work with. Nice spin from Roka. We've got mid-control now, and surely Renegades cannot pull this back into their favor. It is a 5-on-2, now a 4-on-2 as Ustilo gets that kill. And it feels like he's just going to be, this round, that nuisance that just never lets go of the movement key. Swaps out for an M4, so some additional firepower. Roka, even with 2 kills, was never able to find a rifle. Tough part as well is no matter where they go, there's going to be an M4 in their way. And there's no utility on the Splyce team for this B hit. So JKS is going to be relatively safe, and he can pick 1 or 2 off as they cross. Flashbang in his face. Certainly he'll turn from that, and he's got everything to do. He doesn't turn from it. He gets blind completely. Does win 1 fight, but cannot recover onto the second. And that's a much-needed clean take of the B bomb site from Splyce.
He still now starts to make his way, and he has 2 flashes to work with. Diffuse kit as well. Creeping on through. Exotic going to fall back into the arms of Davey. He does spot him there. Now takes this opportunity just to go pushing right into the site. Now Roka does reside here. He's the man who got 2 kills earlier on. Going to go peeking into this. He completes it with a 3rd, so he does manage to scrape together a 2nd round for Splyce. Renegades are going to be 4 spying down. We know how strong these CZs are.
Yeah, I mean, Splyce, crazy to think they have to win 14 in a row just to force overtime, but that's what they're tasked with moving forward. Roka, a good round there to get Splyce their 2nd, to double their score in this game. And they'll have the equally frightening task that Renegades just had. So, marching over towards this B bomb site. 2 people going to be here. Jacob. There's the Deagle and JKS as well. And do they want to commit to this? There's some pressure in towards A main, and now they kind of have to commit to this B play. Crossfire set up. JKS is going to be here. Jacob, though, gets around the box just at the right moment. But when he can't control it, runs out of bullets, caught off guard somehow, and JKS was out in the open with the Deagle. Unfortunate set of circumstances for the defense, but A blunder cost them their life, cost them the round. And there goes Nifty.
So Splyce going to be in with the third. Seen a little bit of some stat padding, some confidence boost for Drone and Roka. I think they're definitely the two that you would look to really have to try. And I mean, really step up to facilitate any sort of comeback here. But you know, I mean, we've seen some pretty crazy things throughout the Pro League season thus far, Jason.
Okay, you want to get started on this train already?
You know what? Can I'm a believer. I'm an optimist, and I'm a fan of.
You really like Splyce.
I mean, no, because I'm gonna be honest. Like I love Renegades.
Last week you called yourself the resident Splyce expert.
Yeah, but I'm also kind of you know, I mean, I've followed Renegades for a very long time as well.
Okay.
And
you're a glutton for torture, is what you're saying, for heartbreak.
Yeah. Well, no, because the thing is either way, I'm a winner. One of my favorite two teams will be taking it. So there's that, right? So Renegades here, they're just going to go for the things they saved from the previous round, the Deagle and the UMP, and JKS as a CZ. That's literally it. They're playing it safe. And they'll be able to get a buy up in the next round. Even then, you could even really see them perhaps go for an eco just to get everything they can into round 6. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they've got the rounds to play with. But Az's got aggressive early on in towards main. Didn't spot anything, so now he starts to retreat back onto the forklift. Has Ustillo down there on highway for a fast rotation up. And Splyce, they're taking things slowly here. They know that the pressure is very well and truly on.
Well, you just can't make any mistakes, can you? So yeah, take things slowly. But the dangerous part about that is, eventually, if you play too passive and too cautiously, that will eventually be a mistake in certain situations. So many pitfalls on their way back to trying to force overtime. Molotov out there's one. They missed a Molotov. Not really going to have too many consequences in this round. It is Ozza, though, and he's got a UMP. Great kill from Ustillo. And there's Ozza with a follow-up. 72 HP still on the UMP man at forklift. And he can just hold this down. He can control this portion of the bomb site. Although Roka turning the corner might spell the end, and he's going to push up, get aggressive. He doesn't quite have the angle on Semphis. And that should end the danger for Splyce, as Roka's going to have the perch towards highway. He'll grab Nifty, and the spot from Semphis is just too effective at forklift. And there goes Renegades, but they're going to have a solid buy into this round.
Yeah, decent bit of utility to work with. No AWP out for Nifty. He is only on the M4. Exotic's going to have his AWP now. We have seen a good recovery, though, from Drone, actually, in these last few rounds. He's currently top of the board at 4 Splyce. And everyone else kind of starting to step things up, which, you know, even if it doesn't necessarily play into this map that much more, at least it will give them that much more confidence heading into the next, because I think they're in desperate supply for some serotonin, for some happiness, because they were looking pretty low. But early on, going to start to make their way out towards mid. Flash facilitates this play rather than Davey and Roka, but Nifty's there to find the first trade. Does come through. There is a man in defense in the form of JKS, and he's been Molotoved off right now, but he might find the timing. There's no one here keeping an eye on it, so Roka is going to go down. And that's mid-control retaken, leaving the pressure on Ustillo and Azza. They've shut things down over here towards A, and Semphis will be kept at bay. The nade's there to finish him off, and that is Renegades winning this map out, convincingly so.
Convincingly would be an understatement. Domination from start to finish. That T-side was unreal. Splyce could never get it going. Hopefully, I think if you're a Splyce fan, like our boy Harold here, you got to hope that was just a slow start of that first map. But 14-1 turns into an easy victory in the second half, 16-4 overall. We're going to head to a short break, but when we come back, the analyst desk is going to walk you through the destruction.
Incendiary out.